Hello everyone. Welcome back to another episode of our /JustNoMil. In today's episode, she told me I couldn't feed my baby. FMIL upset we announced our own engagement. MIL dug into my private family history and crossed a major line. How do I address her without becoming the just know? Before we get started, make sure to subscribe so you will never miss a video. So let's get started. She told me I couldn't feed my baby. MIL and I got along just fine until the birth of my son. Then she overstepped, by far. Months before I was going to give birth, she and her entire family were wanting to know when they should buy plane tickets so they could all come to be with us when my son arrived. They all wanted to be in the hospital when I had the baby and see me right after and hold my son and stay at our house and help. My husband didn't understand why I had a problem with this at the time and said it was part of his culture to do this. Well, praise God I had my son 2 weeks early so none of my in-laws invaded my space at the hospital and I could spend my birthing and recovery experience with just my baby and my husband. Only my mom came to help us for 2 weeks before MIL arrived and stayed for 2 months. She bought a one-way ticket and then just didn't leave for a very long time. There were, of course, the small things. She somehow made it through medical school and is a practicing MD, but many things happened that made me lose respect for her as a doctor, which I can go into in another post because there is just so much. She grew up with maids and never had to cook or clean. She doesn't know how. So her helping was not helping. She just came because she wanted to size me up as a mother and make sure I wasn't going to hurt her first grandbaby. My husband went to work every day, so it was just me and her and my son alone at home for 2 months. I felt constantly observed and quietly judged. I couldn't get away from her. The big issue was with me feeding my son. What enraged me more than anything was her little comments about my breastfeeding. How much milk did he drink? Maybe his baby acne is because you're sweating on his face when you're breastfeeding? Didn't you just feed him? Oh wow, he's hungry again already? He sure eats a lot. How much milk does he drink a day? You should feed him less often, he is gas. She was convinced that I was overfeeding him and stuffing milk down his throat. Whenever my baby was fussy or had hiccups or was colicky, she would make a little comment about how it was from my breastfeeding. Her babies were raised on formula. I just fed my baby as much as he wanted and as often as he wanted day and night, and I had terrific supply and didn't feel the need to count ounces because breastfeeding worked great for both of us and my baby was chubby and healthy. However, she thought he was too chubby and I was overfeeding him. From my understanding, for newborns, all the books and doctors will tell you to wake baby after 2 to 3 hours to feed. MIL disagreed with this. She would purposefully hold my baby and shush and rock him to sleep and keep him asleep for as long as possible in her arms and make me feel guilty if I asked for my baby. She would get so upset when I took him from her to feed him after 2 hours. One day, this escalated and she threw a little hissy fit. She held my baby, who kept waking up and fussing because he was hungry, and it had been 2 hours, then 3, and then 4 hours of him waking, fussing, and then her rocking him back to sleep and shushing him. I knew he was hungry, and I had so much milk. I walked up to her and said, "I'll take him now. I think he's hungry." She looks at me angrily and defensively as if she's guarding my son from harm and says, "No, he's fine." I say, "Give me my son. He's hungry." She says again, "No, he's fine," and turns away from me. I'm getting angry. "Give him to me. I want to feed my son. It's been 4 hours. Shui's tired. He's sleeping. He's fine. If he sleeps all day and doesn't eat, he's going to be awake all night and hungry. Give me my son," I say forcefully. I take him from her, and she doesn't say a word. She just makes a pouty hurt face and goes up to her 3rd floor guest room. I don't see her until my husband comes home. I tell my husband what his mom did and said, No one tells me when and how much I can feed my son. She didn't cross me again like that, but she silently watched and judged every single time I breastfed him in front of her. My son is almost 1 now. The breastfeeding is still going strong, and I have a perfectly healthy and happy little boy in every way. This incident with MIL is something I have never been able to get over though, and I don't think I ever will. I can never forget how she tried to hold him hostage from me and prevent me from feeding him when he was hungry. 2 months is utterly ridiculous. I wouldn't want to deal with anyone more than a week, even in normal circumstances, much less after just having a baby. And her preventing you from breastfeeding could have hurt you and squish. How selfish and evil of her. She literally pretends to be a perfect human and is in total denial every single time she does something wrong, making excuses that it can't possibly be her. I would like to add that within the 2 months of her stay, my FIL and my SIL also showed up. Both times, I was not asked if they could come. I was told they were coming the day before they arrived. Once, she told me her husband was coming the next day. Then she goes to DSW shoes for, I kid you not, 4 hours when I'm left home alone with the baby to get ready for more guests, food prep, get the bedrooms ready, do laundry, etc. She comes home with hundreds of dollars worth of shoes that she doesn't need and asks me if I think they are cute or not while I'm doing all the housework that she doesn't know how to do because she has lived with maids her whole entire life. No joke. I was livid. In the future, do not lift a hand to cater to unwanted or uninvited guests. It's hard to break the habit of good hostessing, but if DH wants them there, he can do the, literally, heavy lifting. I'm surprised you didn't send her away. FMIL upset we announced our own engagement. FH and I got engaged recently, yay. I am over the moon. We called our immediate families and texted our closest friends to share the news right away. Over 24 hours later, we posted a picture to social media. FH talked to FMIL the following day, and all she wanted to talk about was what a downer. It was that she didn't get to share our news personally, and that some people saw it on Facebook first. Edit. While this blew up, FMIL has given me a lot of content for this sub. I'll try to post a few more things over time. To clarify, she's not on Facebook. She wasn't planning to post to social media. She wanted to tell her family, aka FH's family, in a more personal way via Check's Notes mass email, and was disappointed when a cousin replied with, "I saw their post." We had asked that she not tell anyone else until the following day, and she sent out her mass email at 3 p.m. I posted on Facebook at 3:40 p.m. How rude of me to steal her thunder like that. I'd also like to point out that I was not copied on this mass email, nor was FH. She's telling you who she is. Listen. She wants to be the one to announce your big news. She wants the attention of your news as if it's hers. Consider having a social media post ready and waiting when you share another big life event. Absolutely. I would even say she's stepping lightly into enmeshment, wanting to share her and her son's news. So she said to your face that she's upset because she didn't get to have the attention on her and announce your news first? Fascinating. Make sure she's the last to know anything from now on. You've been warned. Not about you is such a useful reply in so many situations. My partner took me for a romantic weekend away to celebrate our anniversary, somewhere up in the mountains with no phone reception. He surprised me with a beautiful proposal, and we ended up announcing our engagement via socials because fortunately there was Wi-Fi in the accommodation. Future Jane MIL was royally pissed that she found out at the same time as everyone else, and that my partner hadn't told her of his plan to propose in advance. She felt that it was her right to know before anyone else, including me. She posted a lovely congratulations to us for all to see on the post online, then got her husband to send us a scathing message reprimanding him for cutting her out, how disappointed she was in him, and to top it off, refused to even acknowledge me by name. Such entitlement. I literally wait until my son and DL tell me it's okay to post their engagement, wedding pictures, baby news, not until I get permission. They are grown people who have a right to control their personal information. MIL dug into my private family history and crossed a major line. How do I address her without becoming the Just Know? Hi everyone, new user here. Hopefully, FMIL posts are allowed on here. I really need advice that won't cause drama in my FH's family. So for background, my father is a monster who's currently rotting in jail for the rest of his life. Hopefully if our justice system doesn't fail his victims. And I last spoke to him when I was 15. I'm 24 now. I never hid this from my FH. He knows why my father is in jail and not in my life. The rest of my FH's family just knows my father isn't in my life and hasn't been for nearly a decade. My FMIL didn't really have any interest in me before I got engaged to her son, but now she wants to know everything about me and be my bestie. I have no clue why she's like this now, honestly. I don't feel comfortable talking about my father with her, so every time she's asked, twice, I told her he's not in my life and I don't want to talk about him. My mother also refused to talk about my father when my FMIL asked her about him. Instead of letting it go, she somehow found him. I say somehow because in the country I live in, we don't have easy access to criminal records like other countries. Not only did my FMIL find my father, she decided to secretly send him letters, call him, and finally visit this monster. Not sure how many times. We only found out because my father sent me a letter to congratulate me on my new job and upcoming nuptials. FMIL not only got in contact with my father, she's given him information about my life, my address, and my phone number. I honestly don't know what to do. I'm seeing her in an hour. What does FH say about her actions? If he's not angry, then you really need to reconsider the marriage. She will be the most intrusive and boundary-stopping MIL ever. I'm not sure if she's really nosy or hoping to run you off, but actually writing, visiting, and telling him all your personal information are unforgivable actions. Because you've expressed concerns that she's trying to actually get a reaction, you might consider leaving her hanging. You and your FH could confront her very coldly and calmly, maybe saying something like this: "We are now dealing with the trouble you've created by contacting OP's father. While what you did was vile and incredibly invasive, we don't have time to decide how this might change things between us. You've confirmed that you cannot be trusted, so obviously we won't be confiding in you as we would other, more trustworthy family members. But once we have more time, we'll get in touch with you. For now, we'd appreciate if you would abstain from trying to blow up our lives further and pretend to be a responsible and caring person." She would get told off loudly. And FH needs to go no contact with his mother or I'd dump him. No way would she have access to any of my life. Yeah, she's done. There's no coming back from overstepping like this. Who does she think she is? If you made it to the end of the video, thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share, and we will see you in the next video.